Weekend plans, so let's check in with the person who's been busy making sure that our weekend will be intact, and let us know if we need an umbrella. First alert meteorologist Rachel Coulter here as we've been dealing with a pretty cloudy Friday, Rachel.
Yeah, lots of clouds, cooler temperatures as a result. We have some spotty showers out there as well. So if you have Friday night plans, especially west of I-77, you'll want to be prepared for that. Otherwise, the weekend will be dry and you're actually going to see gradually clearing skies. So as the weekend progresses, we'll see more and more of that sunshine. And warming temperatures as well. Upper 70s tomorrow, low 80s by Sunday as opposed to the 60s that we've had today. Thanks to the warm front that's just off to our south. High pressure is eventually going to work off the east coast. All of that working in tandem to eventually clear us out. But we've got quite the severe weather threat ongoing. I'd mentioned this before at 4 o'clock, but I want to show you what's happening on radar right now. That red polygon, that's of course your tornado watch. Several tornado warnings in place. And I want to zoom in closer. You don't see this often. We have a special color for a tornado emergency, and that's what's taking place just to the north and west there of Omaha, Nebraska. We have some video from some of these tornadoes that we're seeing out this way. This is just one of several impacting the area. I've been scrolling through social media feeds at this point, and there have been several vantage points of tornadoes impacting this area. There was one really impressive video of a tornado even crossing over an interstate from a DOT camera. So what you're seeing here, several vantage points from the tornadoes that are impacting this area. So I at least wanted to pass that along. Impressive setup there taking place as we speak. Meanwhile, here at home, I say that we're not expecting anything like that. We just have some light rain and pockets of moderate rainfall at this time here at home. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s and low 70s from our central to southeastern counties, 50s and low 60s to the north and west, where we've seen more of that rainfall. Zoom in a little bit closer and you can see some of that light rain just south of our radar site there near Denver, and Lincolnton still seeing some of that rainfall. Pockets of moderate rainfall starting to fall right over 321. We've got some more scattered showers from Burke and Caldwell counties and extending down into Catawba County. Most of that rain will start to fall apart as this all progresses to the east with time. We're going to keep the cloud cover though, especially overnight and into tomorrow morning. So let's talk about your weekend forecast. If you have any plans, just talking about the general overview of your weekend, but here's your temperatures. 50s heading out the door tomorrow morning, upper 70s by the afternoon. Can't rule out a sprinkle or two, but most will end up staying dry. Low 80s by Sunday. Even church breakfast plans in the mornings, near 60 degrees Sunday morning, and at that point we'll actually see a little bit of sunshine as well. And if you're headed to the Kenny Chesney concert tomorrow night, Bank of America Stadium, temperatures should still be in the 70s, but look at next week. We're going to be running pretty close to that 90-degree mark. Warm temperatures on the way ahead of our next storm chances. Those return Thursday and Friday of next week.
Rachel, thank you.